What is up, everybody? It's Superversity here today. We gotta go over people being angry that spores are gonna be removed from the Last of Us HBO TV series and it's gonna be replaced with tendrils. So, RP gas mask scenes was like, I don't really care. I was like, was there really a big component in the Last of Us games to begin with? I knew there was like one big scene where you like first discover of someone who's like infected and you gotta put the gas mask on or whatever. I think that's how the scene went. If I'm like probably butchering it, but I don't think at the end of the day, I don't think it was that big of a component that you gotta care about the gas mask. But people are really upset about this. They were saying the show is gonna be terrible, but then it comes out a few days later after this initial announcement that the stuff's gonna be removed that critics have said this show is amazing. It has 100% on Rotten Tomatoes right now, with 29 critics giving that pretty much a perfect score. So, um, I didn't understand why this small change would make people so upset, but people they gotta get over it. It's like, especially with the properties we have now that's like doing really well, like the MCU. MCU does extremely well. The Marvel Cinematic Universe, they don't go toe to toe for what's in the comics. They do their own adaptations of the comic books and make it presentable to a large audience. So I think they did the same thing with us. Some of the stuff that probably was going to make sense for a drawn out TV show, they're probably going to remove it because it probably doesn't make sense in real life to do it that way. So they probably took some stuff out and replaced it with tendrils. That's the decision they made. But I was seeing some of the complaints people had, like it just didn't make any sense. It was like they legit have the actual person who made the games, who worked on the games, Neil Druckmann, to help with the TV show. So of course, if they thought this decision was needed, it makes sense because the little guy who made the series is helping with the show. So, well, that's gamers for you. They think they know how to do a TV show better than the people who made the games and actually who do TV shows for a living. So, okay. And apparently the gas mask is still going to be present as well in some capacity. But I wonder what was for this change. People have speculated that the main character, Pedro Pascal, he doesn't want to be in a mask for most of the show, which I agree. If you are an actor, you make money with your face, you kind of want that to be covered. I know his big fame came from The Mandalorian, which his face was covered in most of that show. But is that a good thing? Because when The Mandalorian was real popular, I didn't even know who Pedro Pascal even was. I didn't know he was also in the Game of Thrones show because his face was always covered. So that's a bad thing. You don't want that to happen when you're an actor. You want people to know who you are, so you get more roles and etc. So that might be a reason why, but they don't really detail why the change. So that's just people are speculating right now. Not the biggest fan of the change, but y'all are definitely overreacting. It's not like the show is ruined because of this. Don't forget that the infected are simply a background to the actual story. It really shouldn't matter as long as they get the story and relationships right. Yeah, at least somebody says he's a fan of the property, but these people are definitely overreacting. I agree. It's disappointing, but yeah, I'm not going to be super mad. I expect the stuff to change in a new medium. This is going to be a bad show, isn't it? People saying the show is going to be bad from this one change. Doesn't make any sense. And the show is doing extremely well right now for critics' reviews. Let's see. This S is going to be ass. Okay. I'm an actor. My face must be seen so people know it's me. My ego demands it. I don't think it's really ego. I think they kind of need that to be done because he's an actor, so they get work. This scene will no longer make any sense. Let's see. Ellie breathing the spores and Jolie finally believing her in part one. And the newer scene in part two are basically ruined now or non-existent, I guess. Let's see. Okay, so after scanning through this thread, there is some valid complaints that some of the fans have, which, okay, I'll give you some of these points. Okay, so this is a scene from The Last of Us Part 2, where it's like, apparently they have a decision to make with the mask or whatever. And I think this is how Ellie reveals that she's immune to the disease because she gives her the gas mask. Now, I forgot about this scene, but it kind of does. You kind of need this in part two of the season. But I think this season right now is going to focus on The Last of Us Part 1. So, for future seasons of the TV show, this show does well, which I think they're already renewed. They're already doing season 2 because the show is doing well, even though it's not out yet. This scene will make sense to have in the show. It wouldn't make any sense because of the spores or tendrils now. So you get a point right there where it kind of makes sense. You kind of need the spores or whatever. But at the end of the day, I think the show writers know what they're doing. Then this is like another lore-based complaint with the clickers and bloaters. Make absolutely no sense. They're literally supposed to be like mushrooms and plants that produce spores. I don't know. I guess the people who made the show said this didn't make sense to put in the show. I don't know. So we lose this in season 2. Okay, there's another scene. I ain't played these games in a while, so I guess people probably freshly played the game. Remember these scenes like this where the mask was like really prevalent in that scene. So I guess they got a few scenes that make sense where you need the spores, but I don't know. I got faith in the show. And as well, the show is getting 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. Critics are saying it's an amazing show, but at the end of the day, I think they know what they're doing. Try not to get my hopes up. I'm waiting for the user scores. A lot of people are saying that as well. They don't believe these critics. Sometimes critics be paid off. They do have biased opinions to get free stuff in general or to get these perks to be able to see the show early. Because they say the show is terrible. They might not get these same perks in general. So kind of has a point to wait for the user scores. This guy responds saying user scores will almost certainly be bad because of people without good intentions review bombing it for various reasons. You have that too. People with their own agendas. They might not like this show because of a certain reason why, and they might review bomb it. So that is true. Let's see. I'm not looking forward to the show though, but and like it might be a hit, even with this news that something critical was removed from the TV show, as an adaptation of the game. So you see how this change affects anything. Like I said before, the MCU is a great example. They change stuff all the time from the comic books, and people don't really care. I don't think comic book fans even care like that, to be honest. I think they just roll with it because the MCU is a great unit and great license in general. So I think the same will be done for this show. So I am going to conclude it right here. Don't want to see your thoughts down below. Leave a like this video. And as always, thanks for watching, and peace.